Hey everyone, Mike here with Helm to Tower. Got another First Descendant video for you. I said I'd do a follow-up video after I had played some more of the game to get more of a vibe check and feeling it. And while I say I was pretty mixed feelings on the outside of the game, I'd say while some of that stuff still has persisted, I am having a little bit more fun with it. I have unlocked some more characters. As you can see here, I'm running around as Valby. She is like this character who makes water shoot out and can cover the ground in water, and it damages enemies. I feel like I'm playing Splatoon in a looter shooter. It's pretty fun. I've unlocked Freyna as well. She, like Bunny, is kind of like a pretty easy character to get early game if you just kind of follow some of the side questing the game wants you to do. She's pretty straightforward to get like Bunny. So I messed around with her a little bit. She makes poison and stuff. She's pretty fun as well. So now I've unlocked some more characters. I will say I'm having a little bit more fun. I'm in the later stages of the game. I've not finished the main campaign just yet, but I am getting close. I'm in the White Knight Gulch and have 2 little areas left to unlock, and that'll be it for the main campaign, and then I'll be on to post-game stuff. I think at this point I'm going to be kind of mainlining to that stuff just to get there and start seeing what post-game kind of content does that. But I definitely will say I just got kind of sidetracked because I got to points where I could unlock more characters, and I wanted to see how that grind and loop felt. And I'll say largely the thing I came away with is it's not too bad of a grind for some characters, but I think there's some streamlining they could do to the game in terms of how they present some of the items and things that are needed and required to get, and also being better about giving you information about some of the general stuff that is kind of needed to farm for like upgrading characters and so on and so forth. So let me get more into that now in the video. A big thing I definitely was having trouble with is kind of just having a place to better navigate like how to find certain materials, because you can see here, I'll go into this menu here, this access info menu. Yeah, I can go into this descendant part, and then from here you can see, here's the characters I've unlocked or gotten access to, and here's some of the characters I still need to unlock. I click on any one of these, like here I click on Viessa. You can see she has her kind of 4 main parts she needs to craft it, and then you can see I've gotten some generic materials that you need to get all together in order to craft this one main material. Not every character you need to do that for. Like I said, like some characters are much easier. I believe out of the characters I've left, here's Blair. Later in the storyline, I can just kind of do these single missions, and they'll just give you the drops. So there are characters that kind of are a little bit easier to get, and that's why I kind of focused on some of these, like Freyna and like Bunny and even Sharon. Like they have much easier things to do. But for Valby, I did do the whole process of finding all these materials, and then the blueprints are definitely the things, and even the code itself you need here. Those are definitely the main materials that will take you kind of the most to get. A lot of the other materials are just like generally passive, of just like, oh yeah, run around Kingston and like find these. You can find them in like resource boxes or other munitions, and like these just are here. Like you can just do these specific missions or mission types in the open world zones, and those materials will more than likely drop for you. Or in other instances, so let's say let's go to Viessa here, and I need the Viessa Spiral Catalyst Blueprint. In order to get that, I need to go to a Void Fusion Reactor, which usually means that you need to open up, let me see, amorphous material patterns. So amorphous material patterns are basically, you know, I'm gonna use it in Destiny terms here. I know there might be like there's probably a Warframe equivalent, more direct Warframe equivalent to this item that I don't know the name of. Again, I've not played Warframe. I just know Destiny, but these like are basically kind of like engrams from Destiny, but the number tied to them means they have different things pertaining to them. So Amorphous Material Pattern 8 has its own set of items that can randomly drop from it, and then there will be like Amorphous Pattern like 33 or something like that, and that'll have its own material set. So going this navigation way will show you where I can get Amorphous Material Pattern 8, which will, in its set of items, be where I can get the Spiral Catalyst Blueprint. So let me go in here. I need to go to this Void Fusion Reactor to open the material pattern, but here is where the material pattern I get is going to drop from, which is the Vulgus strategic outpost recon mission that is here in this area of the sterile lands. So you can see here, and once it brings you here, you can just relatively easily navigate the menu to get to these. You can see here's all the stuff that drops. There you go. Has a 20% chance to drop that material pattern, and that's what I need to run a few times to hopefully get that to drop, and then I will need to take that to the void fusion reactor to let me try and get back to Yessa. And I'll need to take that to the void fusion reactor in the sterile lands, which I believe is somewhere down here. Sterile, there's the sterile lands one, right? Rockfall zone. And then sterile land repository. So it doesn't say which one specifically, it doesn't say here what these open, but in order to see that, you have to go to a different menu. I have to go to this consumable menu, and then you'll see, I don't know if I actually have a material pattern 8. You can see I have a bunch of different material patterns, and like I said, like each one, like this one I can get a blue beetle blueprint or some other thing like that. Here from this one, material pattern 2, I can get a glay code. So where do I go to exactly open this? You can see I'm playing on PlayStation 5. I can hit L3 for linked reconstructed device info. If I hit that, boom, I got to go to the Gravewalker Void Intercept boss to open this. So definitely a little bit of convoluted menu navigation to get to where it tells you you need to do that. So I think some of that could be a little bit cleaner about how it presents these material patterns and how to like navigate where to get to from this and there, because it can be just like a little convoluted. Some of this stuff is presented in different menus. Like, see, I'll go to the Gravewalker here. You can see here's the linked materials, and then you can see this is the glay code. That was the one I just opened, number 2. It shows there. Those are, if I have a shape stabilizer, I can go from there. If I go here, I can go, here's the acquisition. So I need to go to the Magister Labs, which is one of the, I believe it's like a operation, which is basically like a strike. So if I go do this operation, I can get this material pattern 2 to drop, which is a guaranteed drop from that 100%. So that's good at least. So, you know, there is ways to navigate these things. It definitely is just like a little convoluted. I think specifically for those material patterns, I think they could have better navigation. One thing I think they definitely could improve on is if you go to access info, I saw you can choose target items. So when I initially saw this, I was like, okay, cool. So that means I can just go here and I can see from here, I can turn tracking on for this material. Let me see if I can do it for a few. So let me try and hit tracking on this for the common things. Let's just do it for a few of these. So you think like, okay, since now these are targeted, I could maybe go to my map and it'll kind of show you icons or kind of direct you to certain things to be like, hey, go here to do these things. Or like, hey, this mission in this area is going to do a thing. You can see there's kind of no distinct icons on any of these things that show you like where this stuff goes. So I don't really know what this tracking is doing than other, as you can see here, you can swap between, I can hit L1 and on the D-pad, this is my kind of main story quest that I'm on, or I can switch to these catalysts and it just gives you the name of like, these are what you're tracking and you have these many, but it gives you no other information whatsoever about this stuff. So I don't really know what this is doing other than like, I think from here I can like more quickly access this menu from here, I guess. But I think like when I think tracking, you think they would like give you more direct, you know, tracking routes to like at least give you like, put a little icon, you know, put this little green tracking icon on this guy to be like, or wherever it needs to be like, oh hey, go here to go do this thing. Or if I go in here and go to this intercept battle, you know, there's no indication of what boss I would need to go fight to open this. Is it any of these? Nope, that's for Valby. Is it any of these from this guy? Nope. So it's just not really any good indication and use for this tracking thing. When you think like you're tracking an item, that would be helpful. So that's something I learned on, and like, you know, again, you can navigate it fine enough like I did before all that, but I just, you know, again, a bit of feedback would be nice to better understand that kind of stuff for sure. And, you know, there's a lot of other weird grind related things later in the game that I'm starting to come across, like the whole idea of, you know, the encrypted vaults being these things that you need to grind out very specific materials in order to prestige your characters, which resets them back to level 1, but you'll be able to level them back up to 40, which then gives them but I think they start at the same stats, or you know, they get like a little bit of a natural stat bump, and that will then proceed to make them even stronger when they're back up at level 40. And it's pretty easy to level them, I found, from the 1 to 40 for sure in this game. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind. I think that stuff is you know, relatively fine, but I think the whole idea of doing the encrypted vaults to get some of these materials is not a fun grind, because the encrypted vaults are essentially these things that are tied to these. So basically, if you sometimes see randomly it can be from any kinds of enemies from particular activities. You can see this ultra precision code analyzer. I also have precision code analyzers and even just normal code analyzers. So I have like a handful of each of these already just from naturally playing. You can see I can hit acquisition, info, and it seems like they're specifically from mission monsters. So if you just do any of these specific missions, I'm sure there are guides out there from some folks that have optimal missions to farm these things, which, you know, I'll probably gonna look into myself soon enough as well. The encrypted vaults basically have this little mini game tied to them that are pretty randomized too, and if you fail them, you lose one of those code analyzers, and you can be out of luck with the materials you need from those. And there are tiers to those code analyzers too, and I don't know if people have figured out like specific spawns for the higher tier ones yet or not, or lower tier ones. It seems random from what I can tell so far, having ran around and trying to find them myself, to get those and start figuring out how those work exactly. But it just feels like an extra, like multiple layers of RNG stacked on top of each other just to get, you know, these minimal things in a game that already has some pretty questionable microtransaction stuff that I'm sure people are more than aware of at this point. So I won't, you know, sit here and belabor every single not great microtransaction aspect of this game. But there are a few things I do want to say just to make it known, like how kind of gross some of these things can be, and some other aspects that were happening as I was editing this video. Big thing is just like the most basic thing, like applying colors to characters and, you know, for cosmetic purposes and making characters look more distinct like your own. A lot of that is like paywalled. Like, you literally can just get paints in the game and they're a single use, and if you want to get more, you have to continue to buy them with paid currency. There's no way to unlock them again in any capacity in the game at the moment, which feels not great. Also, apparently, I heard people saying in the beta you could change the appearance of like base skins in the game for Descendants, but now in this full version they've taken that out, so the only way to even apply paints in the first place is if you buy the actual premium skins. Just kind of feels not great here to do that. That feels nothing but kind of just, you know, money grubby. I think something that not a lot of people know, because we're not that deep into the game, but something that will be coming is that there is a limit to the number of Descendants you can actually have at any given time. You can have up to 10 Descendants, and if you want to get more, you'll have to purchase Descendant slots. I don't have the specific purchase options here. I don't know the pricing exactly, but I think the fact alone that you have to buy slots to be able to get more characters after a certain point, and I'm fairly certain if you hit that max of 10 characters and want more and don't want to spend more, you actually have to like delete or remove a character in order to free up one of those slots. So just pretty gross stuff there again. Just feels not great on top of all of these really extra RNG style grinds that are kind of layered on top of each other to feel like more incentivized to spend money. And obviously it's a free to play game. They got to make their money somehow. This does not feel like the right way to do it. I think they should have just been doing more traditional stuff like battle passes and making those more lucrative and interesting to go and purchase, and other cosmetic options that are there that feel more worthwhile to spend money on. Because I think if you do a good job with that stuff, people will buy it, rather than making it be like you need to somehow pay for this extra convenience. I know that's like a different feeling in some places, and this is a Korean made developer, and I know Nexon has questionable things in the past, but it feels pretty egregious here. Even though I've not really played a lot of Nexon games previously, that just feels not great. And one last thing I want to shout out again, this is something that kind of was happening as I was editing and putting it as a video. A shout to Paul Tassi over at Forbes. He does a lot of Destiny content, so you probably know him. He's put together this kind of article that I'm going to link in the description below if you want to look at more. But I have some images here of like just some blatant ripoff of some of the icons used in Destiny 2 and other stuff, where this game just kind of irks the line of copying a lot of these icons. I know like a mix of icons people have been seeing that are like icons that are from like free to use sites that they have just pulled from and used for Destiny, but a lot of them are custom made, and there are people who do that work on the team. There are UI artists and icon artists at Bungie who do this stuff, so it probably feels pretty bad for them to have some of that work, original work they've done, and now kind of taken and like slightly modified here in the game. So like definitely a little bit of a gross thing there, and I hope maybe they go back on that and maybe make some changes to those, or you know, I would not blame Bungie for maybe pursuing action on them for doing this kind of stuff. There's even some stuff like later in the game, some of the environments and some of the places you go to that look very ripped from Warframe in terms of environment style and looks as well. You can go find that stuff yourself in the game to do that, but I think it's just gross. I just wanted to call out this stuff because even though I am having fun, I think this stuff is pretty bad and a bad look for the game, and things they should definitely try and remedy if they can. Some still pretty questionable things about this game, and you know, it does not feel particularly great to see that kind of stuff, and that's personally why I have not spent much money on this game whatsoever. Like, I bought the battle pass at launch, and that's pretty much the only amount of money I've spent on this game is to unlock that, and I don't see myself, because of some of these practices that are in the game, doing that. But you know, to say the least, I am playing the game still and having an alright time with it. Like I said, like now that I've unlocked some more characters and figuring that stuff out, I definitely now want to probably just focus on completing the main campaign from here on, and then I will probably move into doing the end game and seeing how the end game feels and that progression stuff, if that is going to end up engaging me more than I think it will. We'll see. I at least want to see some of that stuff myself, and then I'm sure I'll have another video going out for that stuff. And I am curious about the, you know, they have talked about a little bit about more post-launch content, particularly the name of like they're going to be doing seasons with the game, and season 1 I believe is going to be starting in the end of August, so you know, a little bit over a month from now. So I'm curious where that stuff will all land. I'm sure we'll have more info on that, and I'll at least probably, you know, maybe cover this game in a news capacity. I probably won't, you know, sit here and go hardcore into every little minute detail like patch notes or doing this or that or whatever. But you know, I want to, you know, hop in this game, you know, give you a little my thoughts like this in a video, and then I'm gonna probably still hop into other games and cover those here as well. But for now, you know, thanks everybody. Appreciate you just hearing my First Descendant thoughts. Let me know what you think about, you know, where you're at in the game, how you feel about some of these systems. If you have things you have qualms with that you'd also like to share, at least be like, you know, don't just be like game shit, it's bad, whatever. Like, I appreciate more feedback. That's what I was trying to give here in this video, because while ultimately I think you can be right in some of those claims, I think more engaged feedback is better overall, all things considered, because I would like to see the game get better rather than just kind of die off. A lot of these games that end up doing, you know. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of some of this feedback I gave or whatever I talked about here in the video. Always appreciated taking the time to check out my videos here on Helm the Tower. I have more stuff soon talking about Destiny 2 We're going to learn more about Echoes Act 2 soon. And I've also been playing Zenless Zone Zero, which is a gacha game. I know that's like a pretty different avenue for some of the games I've covered here on the channel so far, but the style and aesthetic was speaking to me for that game, and I played a little bit and I really like it actually. So I'll talk about that game more in a different video, not related to any of this stuff. But if you're into those kind of games, you're into First Descendant, Destiny 2, or Zenless somehow, or other games in these genres, feel free to subscribe and look out for more content here on Helmet Tower. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.